What is going on, guys? Welcome back to another video. So now that the playoffs are fully underway, everybody and their mother is trying to tell you who they think is going to win the Stanley Cup. And I saw a really funny post on my Instagram from one of my day one TikTok day ones, that being Nordic 97. And he posted this, predicting the next 100 cup winners. And obviously, past 10 to 15 years, you can't predict shit. The guys aren't even in the NHL that are going to end up winning those Stanley Cups. But it was a really fun idea. They got me thinking, why not predict the next 10 Stanley Cup winners? I think that is reasonable. Even 10 years from now, the guys that are within prospect pools will be contributing to those Stanley Cup winning teams. So let's do it. Let's go from 2024 all the way up to 2023. I'm not going to lie, I'm going to change my Stanley Cup pick this year because I don't think the Dallas Stars are probably going to win it at this point. They were my initial one. Full transparency, I'm not trying to claim the team that I'm going to end up picking in 2024 is my official pick. I picked the Stars. They're down 2-0 at the time that I'm recording this on Thursday at 1 a.m. right now. So I'm not going to the Dallas Stars. Hopefully, by the time you're seeing this, they came back or it's 2-1, 2-2. I'm probably in Washington right now, so I had to pre-record this. But without further ado, let's dive into it. In 2024, right now, my Stanley Cup pick would be the Carolina Hurricanes. They're up right now on the New York Islanders, 3-0. I think they're going to take care of business. They were initially my Stanley Cup finalist prediction. I think that they are the deepest team in the NHL this season, while finally having that goal-scoring flair of an Andrei Svechnikov, Jake Gensel. Seth Jarvis is a 33-goal scorer, as well as Frederik Andersen playing very good since he's returned and very good in the playoffs. I think they end up winning the Stanley Cup this year. Next up, 2025. I got the Edmonton Oilers. I'm back on the Oiler train. Now, when looking at these future things, I think that I'm going to factor in a lot is looking at guys' contracts, at least for the next 5. Once we get into 2033, you're not going to know what contracts are on the table. But when looking at the Edmonton Oilers, next year is their year. It has to be their year. If they don't end up winning this year, they need to be all in, balls to the wall next season, considering Evan Bouchard's bridge deal only paying him $3.9 million. He's a restricted free agent after that summer. He's going to get 2x at the bare minimum on his next contract, as well as Leon Draisaitl only getting paid $8.5 million. He's an unrestricted free agent. That's probably another $5 million tacked on to his salary. McDavid's not a free agent after 2025, but 2026 he's a free agent, so you definitely want to potentially win the Stanley Cup so you can lock him up that summer long term. So for the Edmonton Oilers, there's going to be a lot of pressure on that. They're not just going to be trading a first and a third for Adam Henrique and Sam Carrick at the deadline. They are going to be going balls to the wall, and I think they finally get it done. If Stuart Skinner doesn't prove himself in this year's playoffs, I think that they're going to have to upgrade the position definitely by trade deadline time, and I think they eventually win the Stanley Cup. Next up, 2026. I have the Dallas Stars. If they don't win it this year, I think 2026 is looking like a pretty good year for the Dallas Stars. Jamie Benn's $9.5 million cap hit is finally going to be off the books. They'll only have 2 years left on Tyler Seguin's $9.85, and although he is playing pretty good right now, you can maybe move off him in 2 years from now, as well as Jason Robertson being in the final year of a $7.75 million contract. They will have to pay Thomas Harley, I believe, this summer or next summer, as well as Wyatt Johnston the following year, but Stan Coven will still be on his ELC. Miro Heiskanen will be making a reasonable $8.4 million, as well as Rupe Hintz making that. They're going to be in a very good situation still cap-wise, so I think they get it done in 2026, especially with Wyatt Johnston and Stan Coven being high-level NHLers. You might get a fall-off from a Joe Pavelski, from a Tyler Seguin, even a Mason Marchment by then, but I think they win the Stanley Cup in 2026 once all their players are kind of fully in their prime, that younger generation post-2017. I think the Dallas Stars win the Cup in 2026. 2027, New Jersey Devils get it done. The Cup returns to New Jersey. This is the last year of Nico Hischier's $7.25 million contract. And if Tom Fitzgerald decides to bridge Simone Nemeth and Luke Hughes, will probably be the last year of their bridge. If they get a 2 to 3 year bridge, I believe they're restricted free agents after next season. Yes, they are, now that I think about that. Restricted free agents in 2025, so if they bridge them 2 to 3 years, they'll still have them relatively cheap. Guys like Timo Meyer, I'm trying to think, Dougie Hamilton will still be at a high level. So I think considering their 3 best players, Bratt, Hughes, Hischier will all still be on fantastic deals, especially in 3 years from now. They'll be $4 to $5 million surplus deals, every single one of them for the most part. It's going to be great for the New Jersey Devils, and I think they win the Stanley Cup as long as they have a goaltender finally by 2027. I think they will figure it out, so I have the Devils winning in 2027. 2028, this is more of a gut pick. I don't really have like a full explanation on this, considering Nathan McKinnon will, by 2028, he will be getting up there in age. I believe he'll be 33 years old by then, 34 years old, as well as Rantanen 32. Makar will still only be like 29. But I think this core is going to get another Stanley Cup. They're going to have to do definitely some retooling around it. But Valery Nichushkin should still be a high-level player. I think Devon Toews is going to age pretty well. As long as they have a goaltender, a pretty solid goaltender, I think Colorado is going to get another Stanley Cup. Don't think it's going to be this year, probably not even the year after, but I think when it's all said and done, this Colorado Avalanche core, it would be pretty disappointing if they end up with only one cup. I would be quite surprised if they end up winning only one Stanley Cup. In 2029, the Buffalo Sabres finally put it together. They just have an absolutely disgusting young core right now. You look at it, Rasmus Dahlin, Tage Thompson, Tate Cousins, those two guys will still be on fantastic deals, only paying them $7 million. Alex Tuch, Power, Peterka, Benson, Savoy, Jack Quinn, sorry, I'm just scratching my nose, Kulich, Levi, UPL. It's insane. UPL, Levi should be one of the best goalie tandems in the entire NHL if they keep them. Their forward core is so loaded. If Owen Power continues to develop and they have two legit studs on the back end, it would be not shocking if they don't end up winning a Stanley Cup. But I would bet on them right now. If there was a future out there, will the Buffalo Sabres win a Stanley Cup over the next 10 years and it was at even money? I would hammer that. I would hammer the absolute shit out of it. Lindy Ruff will be out by 2029. He will no longer be the head coach, hopefully. And hopefully they'll have a guy that could actually finally elevate them to eventually win the Stanley Cup. They've drafted very well. They're going to have a decently high pick this year as well. So I think when looking at the Buffalo Sabres, if they put all the pieces together, they're already in a pretty advantageous salary cap situation. I think I forgot to mention Zach Benson when I talked about their young core, but they're in a very good spot. I'm high on the Buffalo Sabres going forward, although they haven't really materialized in terms of actual playoff success right now. I think they eventually get it done. 2030, I have the Chicago Blackhawks. Connor Bedard gets his first Stanley Cup in what would be, I believe, his 7th season in the NHL. Chicago's building it the right way. They're building it slow. They have that franchise piece, and they have a lot of other decent pieces right now, like a Kevin Korchinski. I think he can be a number one offensive defenseman. Just locked up Alex Vlasic on a very good deal, in my opinion, as well as guys. Lucas Reichel was kind of disappointing, but Kurashev has shown some flashes this year. Oliver Moore over in Minnesota. Frank Nazar, he's looked good at the NHL level. It was a limited stint, but he was very good at Michigan. They're going to get another top 4 pick this year, probably another top 5 or 6 pick next year as well. They're building the right way. They have their franchise generational talent, and usually when looking at generational talents, they win some Stanley Cups. They don't end up their career cupless, besides Connor McDavid right now, but he's still only 27 years old. I think Bedard gets a Stanley Cup relatively early in his career. Not Crosby early or Gretzky early, but for the salary cap era, pretty early in his career. 2031, the Anaheim Ducks get a Stanley Cup. I love their under 24 core right now, not even mentioning a guy like Troy Terry that maybe will still be around by 2031. But right now, Leo Carlsson, Gauthier, Zellweger, Minchikov, McTavish, Lacombe, adding another top 5 to 6 pick this year as well. They're disgusting. I think Dostal can eventually be potentially that guy. So when looking at them, I think they're going to be a highly competitive team from 2027 through like 2032, 2033. They could, if they end up getting like a Celebrini or even a Caden Lindstrom or even a Berkeley Cadden, they're going to be one of the deepest forward cores in the entire NHL for a very long time. And a lot of their young guys are NHL proven at this time. I think the Anaheim Ducks will win a Stanley Cup with this core eventually in 2031. Kind of lines up when a lot of their guys will be between the ages of 25 and 30 years old. 2032, we got 2 and 3 years. We got the Chicago Blackhawks winning yet again, similarly to some other guys, some other generational talents. They tend to win in bunches when they're in their prime, and they're the best player in the entire league, like I think Connor Bedard will be come like 2029 to 2034. I think he gets 2 Stanley Cups, at least in his career, although I don't have Connor McDavid winning his 2 Stanley Cups now that I think about it. But the Chicago Blackhawks are being built far better than the Edmonton Oilers in terms of drafting and overall developing talent. And then in 2033, the last one, I'm going with the San Jose Sharks. Even if they get Celebrini, I'm very high on this. It's only a 25.5% chance. But even if they don't, I think they are building it very, very well. They got guys like Will Smith, William Eklund, Colin Graff, Quinn Musty, Philip Beestead. They still need a very, very good defenseman, but they're going to get a top 3 pick this year for sure. So either Celebrini, Demidov, or Leshinov, Perrick, Lindstrom, Cadden. They're going to probably have the best prospect pool in the entire NHL when I do it again this summer, considering, again, guys like Smith, Graf, Musty, Beasted are all still considered prospects. They're doing it very well. They also have Pittsburgh's pick this year. So I think this team's not going to hit their stride until like 2027, 2028. It's still a very long build that they have going forward, but I think assuming they don't rush this, which it doesn't appear like they're retaining salaries on goddamn Hurdle and Carlson for years out into the future. So Mike Grier has a vision, a long-term vision, and he's not going to rush it. So that makes me confident in this group. They do need to get a Celebrini type. I think Will Smith can be an eventual top 10 center. I'm not sure he's ever going to be a superstar. So they need to hit on one of these top picks or get a first overall or a second overall, not generational talent, but elite kind of talent. But right now they're definitely trending in the right way, and I like what they're doing. And I think in 2033, that can be when they really hit their stride. So 2024 Canes, 2025 Oilers, 2026 Stars, 2027 Devils, 2028 Avalanche, 2029 Sabres, 2030 Blackhawks, 2031 Ducks, 2032 Blackhawks, 2033 San Jose Sharks. No Leafs, no Rangers. I'm kidding. A lot of teams. When you can scoping this out, I can't give a cup to every goddamn team. But so let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? Who would you pick in this long time horizon? A lot can change. Do not get me wrong. I'm not saying I'll be shocked if I get the year and team right on like any of these, if I'm going to be honest. This is really projecting forward. But let me know in the comments, what do you think about this? And I'll be seeing you in the next one.